demonstrate alchemy today? Professor Andrea Sella and Dr. Marcos Martinon Torres from University College in London believe you can and agree to show Jamie the greatest alchemical process of all.
Was that dramatic? Wow. What I want to know is, Marcos, is it possible to turn base metals into gold?
The answer is yes, it is possible. The question is whether this would have been possible to a medieval alchemist. The boring fact is that it's not possible. Today we know, we can set the record straight, that no alchemist would ever manage or have managed to transform lead into gold using chemical methods. We know that's impossible to transform one atom into another. We need physical methods. And this was done 30 years ago. They demonstrated it was possible, but the investment doesn't pay for the return, so people don't do it usually, and the gold you make is radioactive and so on. But this is not to say that when people made transmutation like sulfur into this rubbery substance, they did try to cheat or that they were deceiving or lying, because they could see a transmutation. So I'm going to try and show you a transmutation of copper into silver and then into gold that will illustrate how people did effect transmutations. They were transforming a substance into another and quite possibly believing that they had achieved the transmutation. So they were not necessarily trying to lie.
Okay.
So we're just hitting here some caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, and what we're going to mix in as it warms up is a little bit of zinc powder. So this is just metallic zinc that's been ground very fine.
And this caustic, this is baking soda, is it?
Yeah, that's right. But as we mix it with a little bit of zinc, so this is metal, but it's just been ground very, very finely, just so that the reaction can take place faster.
So what are we hoping is going to happen now to the zinc in the caustic soda?
We're going to produce a complex sodium zincate. So we are going to, as it were, bring the zinc into solution. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we're going to undertake an electrolytic reaction when we put the copper in. We'll come to that in a second.
Would early alchemists have been carrying out exactly this kind of experiment?
Well, this is one that would only be undertaken relatively recently, because metallic zinc only really appears in Europe systematically from the 17th, 18th century. But this illustrates one of a repertoire of other experiments taking place earlier as well that would visually transform one metal into another and lead people into believing that they had indeed succeeded with transmutation.
And when we talk about the philosopher's stone, that's what it is that we're talking about, right? Turning lead into gold, is that right?
Yeah, generally yes. The philosopher's stone is that ultimate ambition of many alchemists. It's that wonderful substance that would have the power of transmutation, that would be allowing humans to transform one metal into another, one substance into another, typically a better substance. So the king of those transmutations would of course be the transformation of lead into gold, base metals into gold, but others believe that the healing power of the stone would also allow to cure illness, to extend life, and so on. So that's what the philosopher's stone was about.
There is always in alchemical history the idea that this thing must be possible. It ought to be possible to transmute base metals into gold, but accounts of it actually being done are rare. So, and it's also a very strange factor. I noticed a friend of mine, we were talking about alchemy recently, and he was saying in all the works on alchemy he'd read in the great libraries of Europe, he never found one with any chemical stains on the pages. Now, I think this is very telling. I don't think most of the books we have on alchemy that we use, that we're often using to try and find out what alchemy is and what the philosopher's stone was, were any more than commentaries on what practical people were actually doing. We get much closer to it with things like Isaac Newton's notes on alchemy, where he's actually talking about process. So many of the books on alchemy are about principle more than praxis.
So I'm going to take a relatively clean copper coin, with apologies to the Queen, though she might be flattered that we are turning this into a nobler metal. And we are going to just dip it into this liquid. and very quickly you can see the color is beginning to change. The copper is acting as a cathode, so individual ions of zinc are being reduced and deposited on the surface of the coin.
The color of the copper is actually fading now, and it's becoming kind of whiter. Very, very strange process that simply on heating in the right solution, we can turn, the bright, familiar copper color into something else.
So we're not zinc plating the copper, are we? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Well, in a sense, that's what we're doing. But remember, nowadays we know about these different elements, and of course we know what the answer is. But to someone who has never seen this before, to someone who's doing this for the first time, one of the key things about this kind of early science is the fact that they only have three things to go on. They can look at it, they can taste it or smell it, or alternatively, they can either bash it or transform it in some physical way. And so, really, there are very, very few methods to identify what it is that you've got. In many ways, I think that is one of the big differences between modern chemistry and alchemy, is that now we have so much more powerful tools.
Now look at this.
Wow, that's amazing. So what do we have? So we have a copper 2p coin.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Cooling
Just
it down.
pulling it down so we can handle
Okay.
it.
A copper 2p coin that now looks like a 10p coin.
That's right. So we're adding to its value.
Wow. Yeah. Is this technically legal?
Actually, it isn't.
It's a very good question.
I know the answer.
We could be arrested.
But maybe, and now we cannot claim ignorance because I've said it, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's quite interesting to think that there were guys in those days that genuinely did believe that they were creating gold. I'm sure they'd have been very wealthy if they really did. There's a fascinating story about a guy in medieval times that actually created brass by mixing copper filings with hemimorphite, which is zinc ore. When the two came together and he heated it up and did whatever he had to do with it, he created this amazing gold metal and genuinely believed that he created gold. It was only when he took it to a goldsmith that he was told he hadn't, but he actually created brass.
The silver coin is transformed in the final part of the